Hello, everyone. This is Kim Stanwood, Terranova here at Rythmia. And I want to welcome you on this beautiful Saturday. It's absolutely beautiful outside. It's sunny and gorgeous. The monkeys are out and we're having fun. And I want to introduce you to Stefani Baca, who's joining me today. And Stefani has been here all week long with us, and we are very blessed by her presence and her consciousness. And she had some major revelations all over the place this week. So welcome. Thank you for coming to talk to me this day and share yourself with all of us.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
We're happy you're here.
Thank you.
Tell us about your adventure here in Rythmia. I know where to start. It's big. Tell us, how do I start a class every morning? Say, give me one word. How do you feel right now?
Complete.
Complete. Beautiful word.
Thank you.
Complete. So where did you feel when you first got here?
Terrified. I was terrified. I was psyching myself out. I was in a fear mind. I was trying to control. I wanted all the answers. I was asking everybody who was leaving, what was your experience? How'd it go? Are you okay? I wanted to know everything. Even though I already made the decision to be here, but I still wanted to control and know what I was getting myself into. But no matter how much I prepared, it wouldn't have prepared me for the ceremonies. Yeah. And also the mind psychs you out a little bit more. And some of the ceremonies, I was so intimidated. I went in and it was beautiful. And I thought, oh my gosh, why would I let fear take this? That was fun.
So we start with terrified and we get to complete.
Yes, we get to complete.
Because you surrendered.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there you surrendered, even though you thought you were in control, then you let go. There's so much power to letting go.
Yeah.
It's like this powerful place. What do you think you let go of here at Rythmia that you're not picking back up? Because you know I always ask you that. You can't pick it back up.
Well, control was part of it. I had to learn why I was wanting to always control things. And I think because I had to see my life and what it looked like to not have control at a young age. I come from a divorced family. Back and forth every other weekend, my life was constantly out of control. And so as I got older, I created these habits of controlling so that I could feel like I had something to protect myself. I knew what was happening, even though my outside didn't seem in control, right? So I was able to learn what that looked like, to let that go. I learned to be vulnerable, which was really hard. I learned that in your class.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a minute, because we love that. The open heart availability to be vulnerable. Speak to that, please.
So I never cried. I was always told I was too emotional growing up, or, oh, you're being so sensitive. That's something I heard all the time from my older sisters and my mom. And so I learned to repress the emotion, to repress my feelings so that I wouldn't be made fun of. At least that's how I was perceiving it. And in the process, I showed up to your class and I got emotional, and I was immediately I felt the room and everyone started looking at me and I started sweating. I remember telling you I'm sweating, and you came over with Kleenexes and just said, there's power in vulnerability.
Yes.
And immediately the light bulb went on and I was like the sky opened, and it was so true. I had forgotten how powerful it is to be vulnerable and to show people who you are. Instead of holding it in, that's actually the weakness. Holding it in is weakness.
And I want to just highlight that word. I had forgotten, because when we're always talking about we're here to stay awake and alert, and when we forget in the human realm, then of course we fall asleep to all that's possible. So that's where the terror comes in. That's where the fear. That's where the control, because we forget how connected we are. So your availability you let me in.
You let me in. You opened it.
It was beautiful.
Safe space.
Yes.
And you kept saying that, safe space. This is safe. And I didn't understand what that meant, because everything had always been so unsafe growing up.
Yes.
So it was
that's our intention, to create safe space here when it's could be a wild ride.
Right.
But to know that's safe.
And then that class and the next two classes that you taught, I felt, not just me, I spoke with a few of the other people who were here, and we all kept saying everything Kim's saying is it's sticking. It's like your message was speaking to one of us, but it spoke to us as a collective. It was so profound. Beautiful. Even though we went through the ceremonies and we all learned so much about ourselves, your classes continued to create tools, and we kept seeing ourselves. And as we continued to share, we were able to relate to each other and the sharing and the knowledge. And it was it's not just the ceremony, which is so fascinating.
It's all of it.
Yeah, what Rythmia does.
Yes.
It's not just, the ceremonies are a huge part, and it's beautiful and ritual, and it's beautiful, but the classes, the yoga, the breath work, it's all these aha moments continue to create outside of the ceremony.
And that's so important for us to remember, that the aha moments come whenever they come, but when you're here at Rythmia, we're always preparing that space for those insights to land. So
Right.
we're in the work, in ceremony, as you said, in class, in breath work, and that's the importance of being present as a piece of all of Rythmia.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And just that constant inner dialogue. Even the food. Sometimes you go to get something that you would normally get, and your body says, nah, not today. So you start hearing your voice.
listening. You
I
were
know.
listening.
It was so many things all the whole week. It was amazing.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
So how does that going to outpicture when you're home? I mean, to know I let go of control. I'm willing to be vulnerable, and your listening expanded. And I know there's lots more, but what's going to shift when you're home because of the inner work and let go that you did here?
I think hearing the words I say, not only to other people, but as I say to myself, it's like I can hear my voice as I'm saying things, and I see the patterns I've created in my life. For instance, when I would say things are beautiful about people, I didn't realize I was actually acknowledging those things within myself. And I never gave myself those compliments because I thought it was egotistical, or, I shouldn't say that about myself. That seems selfish or conceited. All these things I used to tell myself. And that's not the case at all. I need love just like everybody else. And I just forgot to love myself. That's number one. Number two, I'm learning to let people be who they are, which was a huge lesson. Again, that control comes in, and I found myself wanting to control people to fit my narrative, as opposed to letting them be who they are and just being together. Things would annoy me about people. Like, change for me versus.
Okay, so right there.
I know, it's so much.
Right there.
It's so much.
Like self-love and acceptance of others.
Yeah.
Imagine if we're all tapping into that when you go home and you're living more in the vibration of massive self-love, acceptance for others. That rolls out, not only impacts your relationships, but all the relationships with the people that you relate to.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, keep going. This is good.
Okay. And then I think too, hearing people, when people would compliment me too, again, I wasn't receiving. So now I'm learning to say thank you. Because even an example, when Kim showed up, she was like, I love your dress. Immediately I went into, I love your dress too. Instead of just saying thank you, which is so hard, but I'm working on it.
Yes, good.
So that will be helpful.
Stefani,
practices.
you look beautiful today.
Thank you. That is true.
She's practicing. She's practicing. I did give her that assignment to say, it's really evolved when we go, thank you. It's true. Beautiful job. She's practicing.
It makes me sweat.
I know it does, but it's okay. We're still okay. This
practice.
It's safe to stretch here.
Yeah.
And when all of us realize it's safe to stretch wherever we're at, but we get to practice right here at Rythmia, which is, it makes it so tender to our hearts to know that you're willing to allow us to create safety for you to stretch.
Right. Yeah.
So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
What else what else did you love about Rythmia? The classes, the food, ceremony. What else do you know? Like, oh, this I loved as well. What would that
I
be?
loved the music. That was very powerful. Still songs I can hear in my head. I loved the earth part of it. I like the nature side.
Yes.
I had forgotten how connected we actually are to nature. And when people used to say we are one, I'm like, yeah, we're one. We're one with nature. I didn't understand that until getting here. And you had mentioned it yesterday that this is a garden. And it really is. It's a garden. And as we're planting these seeds here and seeing everything blossom, we're also doing that within ourselves. We're planting and blossoming, planting and blossoming. And so I love flowers and gardens are
planting, blossoming, blossoming.
It's a constant cycle.
Yes.
I learned, I loved seeing myself and seeing who I had created and why I had created and how unhealthy it was going, that direction was going in my life, and able to kind of cut a lot of that stuff out.
So that right there, I was able to see where I was going. So that observation of the way you were living, you were headed down a certain path, right?
Yeah.
And now that you're seeing anew and releasing all this, that's the pieces of your life that are going to be shifting so dramatically. But we have this wonderful ability to help you see anew through you.
Yes.
We're not doing anything,
right.
Creating space for you to be more yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lovely.
Thank you.
So did you get your miracle this week?
I did.
Love it.
It'll make sense when you do it. I know it's like, a language. Did you get your miracle? It's, but as you get it, you want everyone else to get it.
Well, imagine this. And I said this to you in class and everyone else, is if we're aiming to look at life from the viewing point of it's all a miracle. It's all miraculous. Then we get to create the place for you to birth your own inner miracles. So you catching it, whether it's you're on your way to Rythmia, whether you've been here already, you know the importance of that. Is that the miracle just is the pathway to see your life differently and
Right.
clearly to consciously create more of what you desire.
Yeah.
And if we're all creating more of what we desire, then life outpictures anew for everyone.
Mhm. And it's so simple.
Mm.
It's so simple.
Oh yeah, tell us about that.
There were moments during my ceremony where I would maybe get stuck on a loop. It wasn't, some people it was scary for, but I think through meditations prior to coming and doing a little self-work throughout my life,
Sure.
it wasn't as scary because I had already faced a lot of these things. I'd looked at them. And so I was able to kind of navigate through the ceremony. There were times where it would be, looping and it would be frustrating, sure. But instead of getting caught up in the frustration, somewhere along the ceremony, it would just click. You can change this. And it's simple. Just say, I don't want this anymore. I don't want this anymore. And then it would shift. It would go to something beautiful and light. And it was, but the same thing at how to apply that in our lives. It's that simple. If you don't want something, make the choice. Don't do it. Don't be that. And it doesn't have to be this heavy self-torture. I used to do this like self-sabotaging thing. It was so unnecessary and so unhealthy.
And the self-sabotaging, we also do a lot when we're holding the chatter. The negative chatter keeps looping as well within us, and we stay stuck in wherever we're at. So if I'm hearing you, and we have to talk about listening, that your ability to really catch that's a gift. Oh, this is really easy. In the midst of challenges, it can still have a place of grace and ease. So ceremony can be messy, but it can also be easy.
Right. And what did you say? The pause? What did you
title?
The
powerful pause.
The powerful pause.
Yes.
I used it today.
Good. How?
Yeah, I got in a little tip with my husband. It wasn't even a tip. It was just a miscommunication, and both of us wanted to be heard. And I thought, okay, take a pause. And I immediately took that wanting to attack, like trigger, I'm right, you're wrong. And I just took a breath and said, this is why I'm saying this. This is where I'm coming from. And then he shifted and said, do you really feel like that? And I said,
did you ever catch that? Just that. Imagine in all relationships, if where the trigger gets hooked and you're about to defend any of us, our automatically quick reaction that we see so abundantly in society is to just pause, take a huge deep breath, tap into our heart and ask a question, or have he ask you a question. Do you really feel that way? That then it's safe. You just create safety here that you now are bringing to your relationship.
And vulnerability. There's where that came in. Old me would have said, no, screw you. I'm right. You're wrong. And this is why I'm right. This is why I'm right. This is why I'm right. And this time I said, I chose to be with you. This is a safe place in my marriage too. I can be vulnerable. And then he saw me where I'm coming from a vulnerability place, which created this power in our dynamic in the marriage. And just the conversation was over, like 2 seconds. Didn't have to draw out. We didn't have to go to bed angry, do any of that stuff that marriage counseling teaches you, right? It was just simple.
Stefani 101. We're going to sign up right here and this is how we're working in our marriage right now. Beautiful.
Thank you.
I'm so thrilled. So what would you say to people?
I had the tools. Kim taught me that. I can't take credit.
Lots of tools. But you're practicing them.
Yes.
I always say I could give you lots of tools. Are you practicing them? So what would you say to someone who's considering coming to Rythmia or they're not sure? What would you say to them?
I think what I would maybe have wanted to hear, which I'm sure people said it and I just didn't have the ears to hear, is if it's calling you, just do it, trust it, have faith in it, and stay open, because there's so much healing and it's such a blessing and it's worth it. It's worth the 4 nights. And you might go into the first night and say, I don't want to do that again. You might have the third night and say, I paid to do that. I'm paying to do this. Wait a second. What
was I thinking?
But then the 4th night comes and you think it's completed. It's come full circle. And you're so proud of yourself for the bravery and the courage and the mind sorcery that you've put on yourself to get there. And then you're really proud. You're proud and you've healed and you're different. It's like your light turns on. And it's all worth it. It's 4 days. You can do you've had much worse things happen to you in your life than 4 days of ayahuasca.
That's true. Yeah. And they might be all good too.
They were, and mine were good. Like mine, I could see maybe some people would think, oh, that's crazy if I were to tell you guys stories, but it was all very powerful in the moments. Every moment that happened was.
Can you see how each one of them was necessary?
Yes. Yep. Each one.
Okay. So I want to acknowledge you for staying afloat and present even when they were hard, to know that easy was still coming because you had the courage to keep going through them because they were necessary.
Right.
when we realized sometimes the challenge is this occurred and it was difficult and it was still what it was supposed to be
Yeah.
for me to grow and evolve to get to the other side.
And I think if you could shift the perspective and say that every time you're in it, just know you're in it to teach you something out of it. And you have to go through it to get past it. And that was just such a cool experience. Even as I'm talking, I can hear people psyching themselves out and saying, I'm not going. But it really come.
Oh, what am I saying? I hear them saying, we're signing up. Listen to her. We're signing up right away.
Those people who are, if you're signing up, do it. Great.
Perfect.
Great. Best decision you'll ever make. But those who might be psyching yourselves out, just remember it's your mind playing tricks, and nothing is as worse as your mind is creating it to be. It's not what you think. It's beautiful, and it's worth it. It's just worth it. That's the only thing that keeps coming in my mind.
Thank you.
Just do it. And the staff is supportive. They're there.
The staff aren't they amazing?
Yeah. And this is one more thing. Sorry.
Yes, please.
I think prior to coming, I have a little tachycardia. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Well, I'll get some misbeat heartbeats, and I thought, oh, what if I have a heart attack when I get here and I die?
That's not happening.
We're gonna call
on
my
our
mom.
watch.
But those are the things we tell ourselves. You hear these horror stories about people dying on ayahuasca. You're not going to die. But the medical staff, when we got here, I had mentioned it immediately. They ran an EKG, made sure everything was good. So then when I went into ceremony, I said, I've been cleared. I'm not going to die.
No, you're good.
So as maybe the heart would race a little, just because that's my own stuff, I just had that thought in my head. You're okay. You've been cleared. And it helps. All the little things that Rythmia does, it helps. It's all connected. It's beautiful. You guys have done a great job.
Thank you. I'll make sure Jerry knows that.
Yeah. Tell him to tell the moon hello for me.
I will. I absolutely will. But we appreciate that because it's very intentional that everyone that is here is family to support you through your journey.
Yeah,
so to know that you're catching it is answered prayer for all of us.
Yeah, I'm not the only one. I think everybody's caught it. They see it. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful dance.
It is a beautiful dance. And everybody's leaving awake, alert, healed, and with their own individual miracle that adds to the collective miraculous.
If it means
Thank you.
Anything, I'm coming back.
Oh, good.
So that should tell you something.
Oh,
it's
good.
Not, if people who continue to come back, let that be a validation that if it were that bad, people wouldn't continue to rebook, right?
It's all good.
So
brilliant. Thank you. Thank you for sharing yourself. Thank you for being vulnerable. Thank you for expressing so everyone on Facebook Live could hear your voice of it. We appreciate you.
You're
very
welcome.
much.
Thank you guys.
So there you have it. Stefani's straight from her lips, and thank goodness that she expresses so much that she caught right here at Rythmia. So come join us and have a beautiful Saturday. I can't wait to see you and see you in class and see you all over this beautiful, beautiful grounds. Have a glorious day. Namaste.
Namaste.